Greetings everyone. Well, here we are back again with this fun little project of turning Waldorf and Statler here into a version of Joker and Batman. Now, last time it was all about sort of penciling the idea, about a half an hour or so. And now we're going to ink it. And it might change a little bit as we go. That's fine. Let's see what happens. This is always kind of the fun part, to me anyway. It's where you kind of decide what lines you're going to keep, where you want to have shadow and that kind of thing. So some things will get corrected too, which will be kind of fun. Like some lines I won't really use. Statler's eyes are completely different than what you often see with Muppets. I've always liked these two characters. Sort of like when I was younger, you could kind of watch the Golden Girls. There was nothing really appropriate about that show for kids. Now, most of those kind of jokes just kind of went over your head anyway. But yeah, these two guys sitting up there basically making fun of everything. I've always found them funny. This chin is a bit much. That's my buddy Neville in the background, reminding me that I should do my best to take care of this in one sitting. What's that now? Yeah, no, I agree. Well, we'll see. It's kind of fun having a good friend remind you that you need to manage your time. Now, as with most things in the modern era, I think people get used to doing some of this in the computer. I'm not really against that, but you can definitely do color correction and all that kind of stuff. And when you do make that mistake, you can just go back and fix it. A lot easier than playing around with this kind of stuff, pen and paper wise. I just kind of have a preference to pen and paper. Let's see about taking care of the symbol. It's funny how much kind of branding Batman has with what he does. I wonder if originally he didn't really want the name Batman. I think he just wanted the symbol. I mean, obviously, you know, the writers of the comic and all that kind of stuff, they fully knew that they were going to call him Batman. But I mean, if, you know, the character was that deep into creating the mythology, I guess. It's an interesting thing. Now I'm just adding the ink a little darker there because I'm probably going to draw that out with a brush and water anyway. Got the little toy end of this. So how was your day today? Did you manage to stay warm wherever you are or cool wherever you are? kind of depends climate-wise, I suppose. If it's a warm climate, you probably want to be cooled off. If it's a cool climate, you'd probably want to be warm. That's usually the way that kind of stuff goes. As I said, we'll try to correct a few things. If at all possible. It's funny. The fellow who was in Twilight, Robert Pattinson, I actually think he did a pretty decent job as the Batman. I don't know what I thought, honestly, regarding the character of Scarecrow, or the Riddler, I should say, not Scarecrow, but the Riddler. I enjoyed that movie anyway. I think he's really truly meant to be a pretty serious kind of character. The outfit can be a bit much, but keeping something kind of anonymous I think is key for how the Batman can solve crimes and go after the bad guys. But in truth, he doesn't really have a lot of people that, are at risk. At least I don't think he does. I mean, I suppose Alfred. He doesn't have a lot of people to be at risk. So that's, yeah, he doesn't have anyway, just more rambling on, I suppose. His secret identity is something that doesn't always seem like it's necessary to have. He doesn't really let people get that close to him anyway. Again, Muppets have one less finger than regular humans. I didn't look up the reason why that is, but it could just be that, you know, you didn't want to create confusion or mimic true life. I'm not sure why that is. Now let's do a little bit on Waldorf. Might change the nose a little bit too. It's a little more kind of bulbous, I think. A little wider in parts too, the nostril. So as I said, I kind of had an idea for this a while ago. The characters sit on my living room shelf. Amongst a bunch of other Lego minifigures, so now this particular minifigure doesn't have the mustache that looks like this, but you may have heard me say in the last video that I'm going to try to model it a little bit after, well, not just Wilford Brimley, but Cesar Romero, who did the Joker from the Adam West version of Batman, where they just paint over or wore makeup basically over his mustache, which is kind of an outrageous thing to do. Now, here's a weird thought. How is it that in so many DC comics, and even Marvel for that matter, you don't really get to see the villains use a secret identity? Now, some of them do, but a lot of them don't. It's almost as if they've accepted who they are. I don't know, that's a strange thought that just sort of wandered into my head there. Yeah, why don't they? But they're not really hiding anything. They're doing terrible things, and anyway, just an interesting sort of thought that just sort of fell into my skull. A lot of neck roll stuff that I'm throwing on this poor guy. All right, just a thought. So let's do a little bit more with the hair. The ridiculous eyebrows. So do many of you have travel plans where you ideally go to a different climate than what you live in? Or do you go on adventures to places for very specific things? So like do you go someplace where there are roller coasters, for example, or specific attractions? Do you go for where there's music? So how do you spend your vacation time? Do you even take vacations? Some people do, some people don't. Some people kind of save up to experience certain things like concerts rather than just go away for a week and spend a bunch of money. Anyway, small vacations suit some people so much better. And as I said, not everyone takes a vacation. Let's get a super askew hair there. Oh yeah. This is always the weird part about inking things. Is you're like, oh yeah, what was my intention with where I was putting something? And so I had sort of a flower here. Just off the lapel. Which would kind of be taking up space on the tie as well. We'll have the bottom end of the cufflink showing here. And his weird Muppet arms. This is a pocket. Oh. The collar, or lapel I should say, would kind of work its way down that way. This one here, down to there roughly. So that's kind of the idea here. Now a little bit on the utility belt. In my mind, I'm not sure if I really want to have another bat symbol. But you know, the Batman probably likes to have the symbol wherever you can put it. So, probably not the worst thing to happen. Shark spray and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if the Batman would use like handcuffs, or if they would be sort of like zip ties but like metal or something instead. Because you'd probably apprehend a few people and you don't really want to just leave your awesome stuff for the police to use and not be able to unlock unless you get police issue. Anyway, I don't know. Just a funny thought. How do you deal with that? I think zip ties probably would work. That's just another little pouch thing. Of course, we're going to get the eraser to this stuff too. Okay. I think we got the main part of what I wanted inked. So, although let's spend a moment on the brass knuckle part. And I have a pocket here as well. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to color this. It won't be in this session anyway, but we'll probably do something. Now, fine tune a couple of things. I'll figure out the pupils after if I want them aligned here. We're looking at his ridiculous device, but we'll treat this as a black and white thing first. Although honestly, seeing the red on his lips and mustache in that Joker style just seems funny to me. So I probably will color this. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that the lines are thick enough, and then I'll put the eraser to it. We'll get rid of the other things that I didn't really want there or that are unnecessary anyway. The pencil. Sort of like the way you would choose. Now, I don't recommend graffiti. If you do mural work, I have a tendency to do the outside lines pretty dark, almost like the same way as you do a coloring book. It just kind of helps it stand out a little bit, and then the inside lines would be a lot lighter. That's the way I like to do it anyway. It's kind of part of my style of doing things that way. Okay. And we'll just do a bit of an outline on Statler's cowl and cape. We'll take a moment to do some erasing. Now, the weird thing about getting the eraser for me is sometimes there are highlights or there are shadows that you've created with pencil, and by erasing them you're going to see that strange little deficit. So you got to remember, oh yeah, I got to go back in there and I got to fix that and punch up whatever it was that I was wanting to highlight anyway. Oh, I think that's pretty funny. About 40 minutes in on the video. 41 minutes, I guess. Statler's obviously talking here. Right now I'm just adding in extra ink where I know I'm going to want to draw it out with the brush and water. Yeah, now I'm adding in the pupils. I think that's the main thing that I'm going to do right now. And as I said, it's time to erase the pencil, and then we'll do some of the other detail later on. So let's close up the inkwell. And we'll cap that pen. Start a little low down here. And immediately I see where I had some lines that were carrying a lot more ideas of where I wanted things to be. That's okay. Like here, for example, between the pectorals, but that's okay, I can figure that out. The top of the head, I'll remember that. Parts of the tricep and what could be built-in shoulder pads. That's gone now. This chin. polka dots of the tie are gone now. Most of the relief of the flower as well. Gone. Okay. Sweep it away. Now, I'm going to do a few more things and then we'll do another video or get back to doing the video again in something else, which is okay to do, so it's not a 3-hour-long video. It's better to break it up a little bit, for me anyway. Of course, the Batman's going to have a lot of shadow. Just sort of throwing in a couple of things here just so that I remember before starting the next video. About 51 minutes in, but I just want to highlight a couple of things while it's still kind of fresh in my mind. Keep a couple of things sort of there. I think that might be it. While I still have a little bit of ink left in that pen. The roughness of that, like I said, what will end up happening is that'll smooth out with the paintbrush. I'll figure out how much color and what colors I'll be using, but it'll be black and white to start, and then yeah, go for some color after. Okay, so yeah, that will be it for this video then for now. The next one will be a bit more detail, and we'll get out the paintbrush and we'll make sure that we darken in what needs to be darkened in before we do the color. So we're going to treat it as a black and white to start, and then yeah, actually before, no, we'll save that for the next one. We'll leave some stuff for the next video. All right, folks, thanks for joining me, and yeah, let's see what we can do with Waldorf and Statler as the Joker and Batman in the next one. So stay tuned, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.